And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It's November 20th, 2025. It's a Thursday, and boy, we're glad the market's closed. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, serious talk and everything affects you. We do markets. Today, we're going to do markets. We're not even going to get into anything else. We're going to do markets. As you know, you have been warned more than once by us on bubbles, no sales, the concentration of money by the big institutions in one certain area, encompassing a certain amount of names. We have warned you recently about some of the things we have been reading and also investigating ourselves that, without getting too tough, on the surface look somewhat suspicious. We're big believers here, and I'm measuring my words very carefully. We're big believers about 1 + 1 = 2. We're big believers is the fastest way to get something or to something is a straight line. We're big believers in norms. We're big believers in precedent and history. We're big believers in calling out the outrageous. And we have seen some of that in recent weeks, if not months. So, first let's introduce, I'm Gary Kaltbaum. This is Investor's Edge, serious talk. We'll do markets today. Everything else goes to the back of the bus. If you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com, also on our X feed, and you should follow us on X. If you don't, if you'd like to email us, just be nice. We'll also post it on podcast apps as well as the BizTV YouTube channel. We were out yesterday. In case you don't know, we did I think it's the 23rd, maybe 24th, it's not 22nd, annual Kaltbaum family Thanksgiving dinner for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Florida. We had about 300 youth there last night, had a blast. It was really one of the best we've had, and you know what they did this time, and I was very happy about it. They told these young men and women to dress like they're going to a wedding. And man, you should see these girls and these young kids in dresses and the teenagers dressing in suits. It was fantastic. If you're in Central Florida, Four Rivers is who we engage with to serve, a great barbecue place, and it was just a blast. Of course, I caught the flu, and it's the cold and flu season, and it's the cold and flu edition of Investor's Edge. I got to tell you, I've been rocked today, but I'll be fine. That's all. Let's work backwards, if it's okay with you. We warned you incessantly, pretty much nagging, that there were bubbles in this market, that somehow, you never know why, nuclear stocks, drones, robo-anything, rare earth, quantum computing, Bitcoin mining, these stocks, not all, but a lot of them, went freaking vertical. And a lot of them, not all, had no sales. We watched how one name went to a $25 billion market cap. Imagine $25 billion market cap. with no sales. And let me put this to you. If you're buying the stock when you're paying $25 billion for a company with no sales. It's gone from 193 to 88 and dropped another 14% today. And it's just one. They are ripping the stuffings out of all these names now. Remember the rare earth out of nowhere, and this just happened like 5 or 6 weeks ago. And we warned. And why did they go higher? Well, in a frenzy of speculation, the administration's talking rare earth in China and this and that, and we watched no sales stuff. I'm looking at one right now that went from 13 to 44 bucks. 13 to 44. And at 13, it's got a $1 billion market cap with no sales. It's back to 12.20. And I can sit here and go through about 100 of them. And there's probably more that I don't even know about. So that's number one. Number two bubble. And we kept warning and warning daily. The hot IPO bubble. They were opening up IPOs hot. They've all crashed. And when I say crashed, you think 50%'s a crash in 6-8 weeks? I would say so, right? A crash doesn't have to happen in one day. Here's one that's gone from 80 to 36. It doesn't matter which name. It's like all of them. Here's one that's gone from 57 on the first day, 28 today. So there's just another bubble. And we warned, and we hope you listen, because no sales stuff sucks. We have this motto that ultimately, eventually, they all go back to where they came from. We just don't know when eventually is. And it just so happened the last 6 weeks. But there are other things that have been going on. We have been telling you about, we always mention this, our left screen. We have a screen that is about 6 columns long of technology stocks that have crumbled. And the list keeps getting bigger and bigger. And we get asked, wait a minute, technology, I thought it's a bull market. Well, it's been a bull market for select, I don't want to call it few because it's 40, 50, 60, 70, I don't know. They are just getting mutilated now, destroyed. They're in bear markets. Forget everybody else telling you otherwise. They're in bear markets. And some of them are just Uber just topped out today on 1.5 times average volume, breaking 6-month support. That's just going to go starting its bear market now. And I can give you a long list. Not on my left screen yet is Palantir. That's starting. It's already down 20 some odd % from the high. But we mean bear market. We mean the process goes on for weeks, if not months. And then you have the favored. What has been the big story that has been jammed down your throat every day? Artificial intelligence. And let me tell you what I'm hearing as I watch people. It's taking over the world. It's a bull market that's going to last 5 years, if not longer. It's going to take away your job. You've been hearing that, right? Artificial intelligence. And what we have seen recently, there's been about 30, 40, 50 names. Some of them lose money, but a lot of them have strong earnings. We're not complaining about their earnings. But what have we complained about? One word: concentration. the big institutions, the mutual funds, the hedge funds, and all them. The bubble in concentration. It doesn't have to be on the business. The bubble's in concentration. If these big funds sell everything and sell them down to nothing and keep piling on the few, what happens? Up next, we'll tell you what happens. And then today, this is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. You know, I promised not to do anything else, but I just got to tell you, I just got an email from Kamala Harris asking me to donate money. She spent $1.5 billion, threw it down the toilet, and she wants people to donate money still. The grapefruits of these people. It's amazing to watch. Okay. So the artificial intelligence, everything, and we have noted for you what happened in 1999. Back then in 99, you had companies making all kinds of announcements, mutual funds changing their name to Internet Fund, companies adding .com to their name, and recently, everybody's making announcements about artificial intelligence, and you can tell the announcement did not need to be made and was not material, but in order to goose the stocks. A little worry. But we've also told you recently, and we're doing a little fundamental stuff here, the numbers that are coming out of these companies on how much they're supposedly going to spend and projecting 4 years from now are just outrageous. Without saying they're going to happen or not happen, I'm no Ernst & Young, but I can add. And I keep questioning one thing. How is there going to be return on investment for all this spend? And one thing is stuck out like a gargantuan sore thumb. Oracle announces a gargantuan number into 2030 and the stock has crashed. And also the insurance for their credit is going the wrong way. And the bonds of companies like CoreWeave are dropping like stocks. So the big market's not believing this. Forget what I think. And then we had, you know, the guy from The Big Short. His name is Michael Burry. Made a ton of money betting against the mortgage-backed securities. Well, he came out recently and made big bets against Palantir and NVIDIA. And he's come out and basically stated he thinks the accounting is a joke. The numbers are ridiculous, and he talks about what we have said to you here that I worry about, this vendor circular financing. And that means, hey, I'm a company, and you know, I'm going to invest all this money with you, but you're going to buy my products. Now, I'm doing no accusing of anybody. I'm stating a fact. And if you go on the web, there, Burry and a bunch of these other people put out these circles with all the names of these companies, and it looks like just that. But who knows? Who knows? So I'm at my dinner last night, and I on purpose said, I don't want to see what NVIDIA did. But as I get into my car leaving, I'm on Twitter, X, and I see a bunch of people that I know are against NVIDIA complaining, so I'm figuring NVIDIA's up nicely. And I get home, and yes, NVIDIA was up nicely. Not as big as I thought it would be, but it was like 196. 196. Closed at 186 and change, so a nice move for a mega cap like that. But then I noticed something. I noticed something. Accounts receivable skyrocketed. Skyrocketed to the roof. Vertical. And what that means is they're not getting paid. Not forever, but they ain't getting paid right now. And knowing that a lot of these companies don't have the money or have to get invested in buy NVIDIA, you wonder. And I'm looking at that last night and saying, man, in the past, when the market saw a real spike in account receivables, the stocks usually got hit. Yet, there was a party. And the Dow was up 700 points early on. Everything was lifting. The NASDAQ at 23,147. I'm adding up. 1,070, 486, 514. The NASDAQ was up 580, lifting everything. Even the weak crap was bouncing. And I was puzzled, but I said to myself, I hate these gaps. I don't like selling a big gap down. I don't like buying a big gap up, so I did nothing. And I also noticed everybody making fun of Michael Burry because he was short a lot of these stocks. They were making fun of him. And as you know, we don't make fun of anybody here. We think this business is hard. Years ago, we learned a lesson when we used to make fun of the guy on, that show. But I got an email from a very nice man that says, it does not look good and does. So we've stopped. The only person we even bring up here is Kathy Wood, and that's only because she keeps presenting herself as the guru, and she's down 60% from like 4 years ago. And her predictions are obscene. That's it. Let me give you the final numbers today, which are amazing. The NASDAQ, which hit 23,147, right around the first half hour, finished at 22,078, down 1,070 points to be down 486. The Dow, that was up 700, 46,856 to 45,752. 1,100 points from the high. And by the way, we finished kind of on the lows. The Philadelphia, all-important Philadelphia Semiconductor Index was at 6882. Finished at 6352, dropped 530 points after being up 213. This is one of the top 5, for me, days as far as movement. I'll explain that up next and what the probabilities are. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. So, NVIDIA was at 196 at the highs today, closed at less than 181, down $15 from near the open. It's like 360 billion of market cap. Unbelievable. And the next part, do you know how I said there were like 30 or 40 names? They all opened hot and got slaughtered. And the names that got slaughtered were the ones that were strongest early, like the semiconductor equipment stocks are the ones that benefit from more stuff being done. And the bet at the end of the day is less stuff is going to be done. Big reversal. big volume. It was not Aunt Mary and Uncle Bob selling. I want to let you know, and I want you to listen carefully. You are going to hear people say it's the computers and it's the algorithms. That's a bunch of bullcrap, and it's an excuse. These are the big institutions, the hedge funds, mutual funds that have owned so much of these stocks, so many shares, that are in recognition of whatever they are recognition of. And their executives and portfolio managers are getting together and saying, how many shares do you have? And you reverse today from being above the 50-day to decently below the 50-day moving average. Remember what we tell you about breaking? Typically invites. So get a whiff of some of this. How about KLAC, semiconductor equipment, was $1,200 on the open today. Up $35, finished down $65 to $1,100. Micron, well, that's just plain topped. Down 25. Remember what we told you? They're in the redwoods. SanDisk, down 50. By the way, that was up 10 early. 50. CrowdStrike, 22. Celestica, 30. The list goes on. It's gross. And I have no clue about tomorrow. They can bounce it or not. But by the close today, top of consequence. Notice the little question mark? Now, as you know, we have been much more defensive. We've been telling you all this. How narrow things are. What have we been saying in the last week? 600 new yearly lows and no new yearly highs. Advanced declines, 1,000 up, 3,500 down. Well, you opened hot as hell today. Advanced declines were about as good as can be at the close. 1,073 up, 3,379 down on New York, and 1,095 up, 3,468 down on the NASDAQ. And new yearly lows, 651 on the New York and NASDAQ, even though you're not even close to the new yearly lows of the indices, evidencing underneath the surface is what we've been telling you, is how many more names under big pressure in their own bear markets. Simple as that. That's the story. I'm thinking I'm guessing on top of the unbelievable concentration that has to be worked off eventually. It always is. Combining that with somebody woke up to skyrocketing accounts receivable and bonds of these technology companies getting hit, and the credit spreads, oopsie, and Oracle announcing gargantuan numbers and going from, this is Oracle, 345 down to 214. I think you got some waking up today. And there's your story. But I'm not done. Crypto, another new low today. Relative. Not the lows of the year. But you're heading there. Bitcoin, Ethereum, MicroStrategy, down to 178 from 457 in June, while the CEO's on TV this week. You know. Coinbase, oft mentioned, just going from 402 to 238. Robinhood, down 12 today to 106. It's gone from 150 to 106 in 3 weeks. We just sold ours with a gain. Whew! We should have made more than we made, but we sold with a gain. I think we made $4. Yippee. The ice got thinner today. I have no clue about tomorrow. I know how government works. They're psychotic. So I wonder what the Fed's going to do. They're insane. And I really, look, I say this with all due respect, and you know what I'm about to say is true. You got a loose cannon for president on so many things, and I've said to you, I just think there's too much of him every day. You know what I think. Keep taxes low, regulations low, fight crime, keep the border secure, and get the hell out of the way, and that's it. That ain't happening now. That's your story. Very rough day. Goldman Sachs today, get this. It's a financial. Hit 8:16 in the morning. Closed at 774. $42 reversal. It was up 30. Finished down 12. We've warned you also about the private equity mergers and acquisitions companies. They're getting rocked. Other financials getting rocked. MasterCard and Visa getting rocked. And you already know about all the avoids. How many times did we say avoid the ADP paychecks? Jobs. By the way, just another thing. Job market came out today. 100 and something thousand. Administration was out. What a great report. No, the report's not great. 115,000 jobs is not great. 250 is good. Just letting you know. And I know they have to market to you, and that's okay. We've warned you about the housing and housing related. Most of the retail, the non-AI economically sensitive. Recently, the financials, restaurants, we warned about. There's been better action in the consumer staples, but they're not bullish. We warned you about insurance. We warned you about travel. The managed care stocks. We told you better action in the drugs and the medicals for whatever reason. But there's just been a lot of weakness underneath the surface, and that didn't help today. And let me add one more thing. You know, the semiconductors, the index has been strong. I got most of the stocks in a bear market. It's been the select few AI names that they came after today, led by the almighty NVIDIA. And I want to let you know, I'm not accusing anything of anybody, but I am reporting to you, man, I've seen this before. That's all. Wait a minute, I saw this before. What do they mean by? And you know what the excuse is? Well, they're not using debt. Oh, yes, they are now. Everybody in tech is raising debt to do the AI thing. And as I have said to you, where's the return on investment on the amount of money they say is going to be spent? And by the way, that's a valid question. If you are opening a lemonade stand and you're selling a glass for $1, but it costs you $1.50, point taken. Up next, we'll wind it up. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. By the way, again, we did our Thanksgiving dinner last night. It's Thanksgiving next week. As we have stated to you, if able, consider to do something for somebody you need absolutely nothing from. And it doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be mid, it could be small. Something, just something. You will feel better than the person you're doing something for, I promise you. And this all came from that line. I don't remember where I heard it from. I heard it from somebody else. I don't remember. But what happened was when I started making a little bit of cake, my wife and I were one of the first people to do a Make-A-Wish. We sent 2 young girls who, by the way, were dying. We sent the family to Disney World. And the mom we met, she was bawling her brains out to me and giving me hugs, and she wouldn't even let go. And that just made such an impact on me that we never stopped. And we used to do Halloween parties at the Cancer Center at Jackson Memorial, and holiday parties. We came up to Central Florida, and we started doing at the Coalition for the Homeless. Once a month, we did a birthday party for any kid at the homeless shelter, a birthday party. Love doing that. And then we met Gary Kane for the Boys and Girls Clubs. And when we met with Gary, I asked him, so what do you do for Thanksgiving? Oh, well, we're not doing anything. I said, now you are. And that was that. And we've been doing it for a very long time, and it's an absolute blast. And last night was special. If you go on our X feed, you'll see a couple of videos. Okay. What next? Well, few things. Careful. Bear markets get no help from Wall Street. In case you don't know, I'm looking to my left right now, and let me just come up with names that maybe you do know. Airbnb is in a bear market. Celsius is in a bear market. That's that drink. Carvana is in a bear market. Checkpoint Software is in a bear market. Kava Group is not in a bear market, has crashed. DoorDash, by the way, DoorDash, let me just tell you what this stock just did. From highs, 285 to 187 in the last 4 weeks. Bear market. Duolingo, DraftKings, Equinix, GoDaddy, Garmin, HubSpot, Intuit. I'm coming up with names I think you know. Match.com, ServiceNow, PayPal, Roblox, Roku, Synopsys, TKO, they own the WWE, Trade Desk, Uber, that gave in today, Robinhood, that CoreWeave, Shopify. I'll just stop there. All those stocks are in bear markets, and all the analysts continue to have buys and strong buys until they drop 50, 60%, and then they change it to hold, which I still haven't figured out what that means. So just remember that. Also remember, all you're going to hear is everything's okay. No. You got that? Today was not an okay day. For me, it's a top 5 on how strong we opened and how weak we closed. I've seen reversals before, but this one took some of that cake. And at some important junctures, by the way, I didn't mention Meta, bear market. Salesforce.com, bear market. Booking Holdings, bear market. Adobe, a brutal bear market. Microsoft, 553 to 478. Let's see, 53 and 22. Not getting there. SAP, bear market. Spotify just went 785 to 589. And they all have buys on them. Home Depot, bear market. Just went from 427 to 332 in 7 weeks. So we urge you, do a little looking, do a little watching, and we're pretty decent at this. Just on the avoid side. And I can tell you, we got some more avoiding today. Anything else going on? Well, I told you Bitcoin gold was kind of flat today. Bond market had a decent day. Yields came down, but whoopee-doo. Excuse me. Oil prices down a little, but whoopee-doo. I gather Europe and Asia are going to have a rough overnight, more than likely, but you never know. And just oils. We've been saying to you there's a smattering of oils that are strong. They're coming in too now. Whenever there's a group of 200 stocks and 10 of them are strong, we're not going to buy them. You really want some real group participation, ladies and gentlemen. Last thing I want to mention. Unfortunately, Wall Street has come out with some weird crap. I didn't even know there was something out there with the symbol MSTU. It's double the performance of MicroStrategy. It's gone from 31.5 to $1.20. I just want to let you know these doubles and triples and all that crap. Careful. That's all. And they also came out with some other weird crap of writing calls on stocks, and they're paying 100%, but they're not. Be careful. I saw somebody touting that crap. And that's it. From the flu-ridden house, you'll have a great evening. Drive carefully. Nice to see a bounce tomorrow, but man, today... when you get home, do like we do. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Stay well. Be well. Thanks for joining. Hopefully better tomorrow. Good night.